Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Extra Lap podcast. Today, we are very lucky enough to have with us Patrick Koon. Patrick, how are you today?
Great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. So, Patrick, coming off a little while ago, the Nike win in the 5K, you ran 13:59, dipping under that 14 barrier, which is kind of ridiculous. I don't think many high schoolers have ever been able to do that. What's that feeling being like in just such great company and just being part of that?
It's incredible. I think ever since I got into high school and kind of learned about, high schoolers running the 5,000 meter, that was something I wanted to do and see how
Mhm.
fast I could run. So to be able, to say I broke 14 in the 5,000 meter while in high school is pretty incredible. I mean, if you just look at the guys who have done it, I think there's only 4 indoors and about 10 outdoors, and some of those guys are fantastic. Like Ritzenhein's done it, Galen Rupp's done it. So a lot of fantastic guys, and I think it's just a huge accomplishment, seeing how far I've came through the sport, and just really proud to be able to dip under 14 as well as get the win at Nike.
Yeah, did you know it was possible? Like going into it, did you think it was more of just going for the win, or did you know you wanted to go under that 14 barrier?
Mhm. Yeah, I thought, both were possible. I didn't exactly know how the race was going to play out, but I knew if it was a fast race, I would have a shot at it because I ran 14:06 at Boston at BU in February. So I
Mhm,
knew I was in shape, and I knew I could do it if the pace was hot.
mhm,
And the pace was it was pretty fast. I had to end up taking the first mile,
mhm.
and then I was lucky enough some other people led it for the second and most of the third mile. So I knew I could do it, but I also knew championship racing, the most important thing is to go and try to get the win and compete for the win. So
Mhm.
time was definitely, the back of my mind, and competing was the main goal.
Yeah, I was sitting there watching the live results, and it looked like going into the last few laps in the third mile, you had to negative split a little bit to pick it up
Mhm.
to go under 14. So how did you just hit that gear?
Yeah, I think that's something I've, been working on throughout my high school career. I would
Mhm,
say at this point in my fitness, I kind of have that strength to where I can run these fast paces and still close off of them. I think in the past, like last year at New Balance, for example, I ran 14:11 and got fourth, but my close wasn't really there. The pace was too fast for me to close off of compared to this year. I built up that strength. I knew I could close off a 9:03 3,200, which we came through in. So I knew I had the strength, and could close off that fast off these already fast paces, and was just lucky enough. I wasn't really stressing about time, and really just competing for the win kind of led me to the perfect spot right under 14 minutes. But yeah, we did have to close pretty hard. I think my last 1600 was like 4:22, so it was definitely a negative split, which typically happens in championship racing.
Yeah, and going off of Boston, where you were closing in on that 14-minute barrier versus like going to Nike, what was that difference maker that got you?
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest thing is the environment. At BU, it's really the main focus is run fast. And to be honest, I didn't feel great heading into BU. Like I didn't run the 2 days leading up to it. Felt pretty under the weather, but by
Mhm,
the time the gun went off, I felt pretty good. But I think the biggest thing is the atmosphere at BU. It's really, let's see how fast we can run. There's a pacer. This is getting this line, and just, we're going through 8:30 at 3K, and just see how fast you can run. And, I think the competitive edge just really isn't there at a race like BU. Like, sure, you want to compete, you want to beat, as many people as you can beat, but really the main focus is running fast. At
mhm,
the end of the day, like if I beat, some of these D1 guys, or if they beat me, or if, this D2 guy from, Adam State beats me, it's not the end of the world. Whereas an event like Nike, it's kind of like these are high school guys. You really got to compete. These are guys in your grade. Like you're stacking up against them week after week, and it's really like who's the top dog
mhm.
um, at this event. So that's really the biggest difference, I think, between these like time trials and an actual championship event, especially for me since I'm in high school racing against the older guys at BU compared to racing against other high schoolers at a meet like Nike.
Yeah, and you did the 5K as you said in New Balance last year, and
Mhm.
you've been doing the 5K for a little bit, definitely with cross country. Like, but what's like just moving forward with like every year trying to get better and better, and then what's like the transition and like workload and stuff been for that?
Mhm. Yeah, so I think my strengths really gravitate towards the longer distances. I
Mhm,
think it just fits really well with my training. I don't do, extremely high mileage, but I am like 60 miles a week, which is probably on the upper end for most high schoolers. So I definitely have that base, and I've always found myself really good at these longer distances. So I've always kind of been attracted to running the 5,000 meters.
Mhm.
I would say, the biggest difference just year after year is just getting consistent mileage under my belt. I'd say that's the biggest thing that's allowed me to improve. Last year when I ran 14:11 indoors, that was a big breakthrough.
Mhm.
But since then, I've really just been stacking the mileage, and I feel a lot more fit than I was last year. And I think that's just helped me improve a lot. And I think it'll allow me to keep improving as well.
Yeah, and looking a little bit to next fall as a Stanford commit like yourself, going to the 8K and all different events like that, how are you like feeling as a longer distance athlete?
Yeah, I'm really excited. Even though I do a decent bit of mileage right now, around 60 miles a week, I still think there is a lot of room to grow in my training. I think one of the biggest things that Stanford kind of does is the longer tempo. So they do like 8 mile tempos, and some of the older guys will even do 10 mile tempos. And I think that allows you to really, get good at this 8K and 10K during cross country. So that's an area of my training I haven't particularly focused on, is kind of the longer tempo stuff. So as I increase my mileage and start doing those longer workouts, I think I'll improve a lot in those longer distances. So that's
Mhm.
an area of my training that I think can improve as I head to Stanford. But I am really excited. I think the team we have coming in my class in particular, I'm just really excited because we're a really distance oriented class and
Mhm.
school, obviously. So I'm really excited to get in at Stanford with those guys, and see how how much I can improve and what we can do as a team.
Yeah, and it must be pretty exciting. I mean, you got you, Paul, Byron, and all the other guys. So how's that feel? Just knowing that you're gonna have some great company with you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm super excited. It's gonna be five of us. So
Mhm.
yeah, me, Paul, and Byron, as well as Josh Bell from California and James Dargan from England. So I think our class is gonna be really talented. I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of the year we have three guys sub 14 in the 5K, and as well as all of us are gonna be well below sub 9. So I'm just super excited to train with those guys. All super amazing guys, really smart, really talented, and I think we're gonna have a great time together at Stanford.
Yeah, and during your recruitment process, was there something that stuck out to you just looking at Stanford?
Yeah, so I knew heading into the recruitment process, I wanted a college where I could excel both academically and athletically,
Mhm.
and Stanford is kind of the pinnacle of that. So that was a big area. I really wanted somewhere kind of like right now where I can push myself academically and athletically. I think that brings out the best in both aspects of my life. So and then when I went and took my Stanford visit, it all kind of clicked. Like the team was fantastic, the coach was fantastic, the atmosphere is fantastic, and it's really a place where Olympic sport athletes thrive.
Mhm.
Um, and particularly in distance running, they've had a long tradition of distance runners succeeding over there. So I'm really excited to get started, and I think the guys was probably the biggest part for me. Paul and Byron told me they were going there, and I went on one of my other visits with them, and could tell they were just fantastic guys and really talented guys. So that kind of cemented it for me, as well as I grew my relationship with the young twins who I got to know as well.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, as you said, I feel like you Stanford over the years has just stacked recruiting class and recruiting class, and I think it just pans out and shows just because of how good they are. And
Mhm.
looking at like a college like Stanford's history, is it just exciting knowing you're going to be part of that?
Absolutely. I think that tradition is something I'm really excited to join and learn about. It's kind of similar right now because the high school I go to has a long history of distance running successes. So that I think it'll be good that I'm joining an environment like Stanford where you can look back and see all the fantastic guys that ran there, all the champions, and kind of just knowing that culture is behind you will really, I think, push the program into the future as well.
Yeah, and you said a little bit earlier, you do 60 miles a week. In that like 60-mile workload, what does like a typical workout look like for you?
Yeah. So it's not anything too complicated.
Mhm.
During cross country, it's kind of the same. So between cross country and track, it's very similar. So how a normal week works, Monday and Wednesday are kind of easy distance days. So that'll be typically be about 10 miles just at 7 minute pace, easy aerobic running.
Mhm.
And then Tuesday, Thursday are workout days. So during cross country, typical workouts. On Tuesday, we'll do 10 by 800. And on Thursdays, we'll do 6 by 1200. And obviously throughout the years, I built that up. So my freshman and sophomore year, I wasn't doing 10 by 800. I was maybe doing 8 or 9 by 800 and 5 by 1200. So kind of built that up throughout my high school career. And then during the track season, typically on Tuesday, we'll do 12 by 400, kind of working down from maybe like 68 to 60. So kind of just stepping down in the workout. And that's something we do really with all our workouts, with all our runs. We'll kind of try to make sure the paces on all the repeats is kind of getting faster throughout, and that's something I like to imitate during races as well. And then on Thursdays during track season, it'll typically be something longer. So it might be 5 by mile, it might be 8 by K, just kind of something longer to make sure the stimulus is still there. And then Fridays is typically it's easy. It's maybe a 4 mile run, maybe some strides after. This is the day I really enjoy because kind of run with the whole team, just kind of have fun, maybe run somewhere we've never ran before, explore in the woods. So that's the most fun day of the week. And then Saturday is typically a long run day. We'll go out to the place we always do our long runs, dirt roads, rolling hills, and I'll usually run anywhere from 12 to 14 miles,
Mhm.
just depending on where I am, how close a race is, what the coming weeks look like. So anywhere from 12 to 14. And then Sunday is usually an off day, or just kind of like Friday, go jog 4 miles, something pretty easy. So that's what a typical week looks like. And it doesn't change too much from between cross country and track, but I think it works really well for me because it's just very consistent. And if you do it over and over and over, I think you improve a lot off it.
Yeah, and I feel like Patrick, you're in a really interesting situation where you have an NIL deal with Nike Elite. Like,
hmm
I feel like a lot of people are curious, just what goes into that? How did that come to be? Just everything with it.
hmm Yeah. So I was lucky enough throughout the summer to be informed that I'd been selected for the Nike Elite program. I didn't know much about it, but Nike used to have the Nike Elite program before COVID, and it was kind of a distance camp. They took a bunch of distance runners um, to out to Nike headquarters, I believe, and kind of trained for a week. But
Mhm.
I think after COVID, they kind of changed the program a little bit, and I was lucky enough to get selected. And so it's kind of difficult to explain, but how it works essentially is it started over the summer. They flew all of us out, so it was around I believe maybe 40 total, 45 athletes total, both guys and girls, and all different events. Flew us out to Nike headquarters, kind of explained what the program is. We toured Nike headquarters, and essentially what the program is um, it pays for certain races. So like Nike Indoor, and Nike Outdoor, we were provided travel and transportation,
Mhm.
as well as hotel for the weekend. And it's really just a program to bring some of the top athletes together, to bring them to Nike meets. And as well, we get gear occasionally. So I got spikes for cross country. I got the vapor flies as well for cross country, as well as some other cool gear whenever we meet up. So like at Nike Indoors, they gave us some really cool jackets and other Nike Elite stuff. So it is really, really awesome to be a part of a program like this, where like Byron and I are a part of it, and we got to room together at Nike Indoors, and the program is really special. It kind of shows you some cool things that maybe the average high school obviously doesn't get to experience, and I'm really lucky to be a part of it. I've seen some amazing things through it, like the Nike headquarters in New York City we saw this past last weekend. So it really is just a cool experience to be a part of. Not obviously only about 40 high schoolers get to experience it. So yeah, it's very similar to the New Balance NILs because they pay for flights and lodging at their national meets, as well as Nike, they'll pay for an additional meet as well. But it's very similar to the New Balance NIL deals.
Yeah, and out of all the gear you've gone, do you have a favorite like little piece?
Yeah, so they gave us these. I don't know if you know what Minted New York is. It's
I
like a running kind of fashion brand, and they gave us these jackets with our names and the Nike symbol engraved on them. So that was really cool, and they were really really nice jackets. They're kind of casual jacket wear, so that's probably the coolest thing we've gotten so far.
Yeah, and I mean, it just must be like extremely special to be part of that program. And
hmm
I don't know, I think it's pretty fascinating looking at
It
it.
is, yeah. Another thing that's cool, we'll have like monthly calls, and
Mhm.
they'll bring on professional athletes to talk about their training. So I think after World Indoor or no USA Indoor Championships, Cole Hawker came on and explained his race and the tactics of his race. So I mean, that's obviously some really a really cool opportunity to speak from a U.S. champion. So those are some of the other things the program offers, and really lucky to be a part of it, like you said.
Yeah, and out of all of like the meetings you said you've been on and part of, have you gotten a piece of advice from them that you just sticks with you?
Um, Let me think. I think one of the things Cole Hawker talked about heading into the Nike Indoor National Championships for us was just really be confident, but also be controlled before a big meet. And don't be just kind of be really calm and be confident in yourself. And when you make a move, really make a move and go for it. So that was kind of the biggest piece of advice I got before Nike Indoor Nationals.
And look, it panned out pretty good. I mean,
Yeah,
that was
absolutely.
pretty hard and you got it.
Yeah, I know.
So, what is one fun fact that you would want to share and no one knows about you?
Ooh, fun fact I like to share. I think a fun fact maybe not a lot of people know is I'm student body vice president at my school. So I've been lucky enough to work with administration and through the student government and serve the school as well as run the interclub council at my high school, which I think is a pretty cool thing. Maybe not a lot of people know. Maybe people think that these runners all they do is run, but that's one of the aspects of my life I think is unique because I get to, maybe not think about running as much and really focus on some other aspects of my life.
Yeah, in as being the vice president, have you planned anything that's pretty sick or?
Um, I planned a haunted house at our school, which was pretty interesting. We had never done that before. I think all of the clubs got like an area of the school, and we had guided tours go through the entire school, which I thought was pretty neat, and it turned out really well.
Yeah, that's sick. And when you're not running or being vice president, I guess, what else are you doing?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just kind of, maybe not doing anything too crazy. I think with training
Mhm.
and a busy academic schedule, it's really hard to have a ton of free time, especially in high school. But I mostly just I'll spend time with my brothers. I have two brothers, and we'll play anything in the backyard, football, baseball, whatever. I like to spend time with friends, just hanging out. My girlfriend, just enjoying each other's company. Nothing too crazy. I don't have anything crazy like like horseback riding or a really insane hobby, but really just spending time with people. I think is the most important thing. I'm not like don't play video games or try to spend too much time online, and really just spend time with people or after I get what I need to get done.
Yeah, and before I ask the next question, if you were in football when you're playing football, what position would you say you'd be?
Quarterback. We'll have
Quarterback.
yeah,
Like,
sometimes at practice we'll play we'll play football at cross country practice, and I'm usually quarterback for my team. Um I'm a decent quarterback. I'm not too good, obviously. Maybe about as good as a cross country runner can get, or you would imagine. But yeah, I think that's like we'll do that on Fridays, or we'll do that, when we're not in season. I think that's another fun way to just, make sure you're having fun with the sport. We'll go out and play that, and that's really, honestly, that's something I really look forward to is just playing football with the team.
mhm.
But yeah, I'm not. I don't want to give anyone any false ideas. I'm not, that good.
If you were to compare your quarterback game to a pro, who would it be?
Honestly, probably Tom Brady, not because of how good he is, but maybe because of like how slow he is.
You ran
Not slow, but like
13:59.
yeah, well, definitely not like, sprinting down the field like Lamar Jackson or anything crazy like that. But and also I can't, I don't have an arm like Aaron Rodgers, so probably just like Tom Brady because like when I'm playing at practice, we'll get up the field. We'll be all right. Like it's gonna be controlled, but I'm not gonna be like, Aaron Rodgers or Lamar Jackson sprinting, up the field. But quarterback comparison is a little crazy. But I think if I had to put it, I'd say Tom Brady.
The Tom Brady, yeah. And as you move towards outdoor, do you have any goals in mind or anything?
Yeah, I would say I'm really looking forward to outdoor. I think it's the season in Florida. It's a little bit unfortunate because we start so early. Like we'll start in February, and the state meets in May, and then I got to wait another month till Nike Outdoors and Brooks PR. But I'd say the big focuses of my outdoor season meet wise are going to be Brooks PR, Nike Outdoor, and Arcadia. Those
Mhm.
are really three opportunities I'm looking to run really fast and compete. I'd say if I had to throw time goals out there, I'd say maybe I think 8:36 realistically is what I think I can probably hopefully get down to into 32.
Mhm.
Hopefully see that at Arcadia, and I'd really like to see a fast maybe 1600. I say, I've never been a great 1600-meter runner or miler, but if I got under 405, I'd be really happy with that, and
Mhm.
hopefully that's a goal I'll shoot for and hopefully achieve this season.
Yeah, definitely. And meets like Arcadia, Brooks PR, it's going to be full. I mean, I assume you're doing the 2 mile at
Mhm.
obviously Arcadia, but
Yeah.
in the other meets. But like, you're going to be surrounded with great competition and it's going to be just a really, really fun race.
Oh
Um,
yeah, absolutely.
this
I was gonna say Arcadia is gonna be absolutely insane this year. I think it's gonna be by far the fastest Arcadia there's ever been. I mean, if you just look at the guys, you got, Danny Simmons, Drew Griffith, Nathan Neal, JoJo. So it's going to be absolutely stacked. I wouldn't be surprised if there's like four guys sub 8:30. So it's going to be really fast. And I think I'm just going to try to take advantage of that and see how well I stack up against, the top guys in the nation. And it's just going to be a fantastic race.
Yeah, I feel like a lot with your class, I mean, you and all those guys that you just mentioned, I feel like last year's class was more of like a miler class versus this class is more of upper distance. And
Hmm.
it's going to be a really, really fun race to see, Arcadia.
I know. Yeah. It's going to,
Um,
yeah. Our class does have a lot of longer distance guys. Like Danny just ran 13:38 indoors solo, which is that might be one of the best high school performances of all time. Just the way he did it. But yeah, I think our class, you know, maybe we're slept on a little bit. Maybe we don't get as much hype as last year's class, but
yeah.
I think we have some absolutely fantastic guys. Like you look at the indoor national week. I mean, Clay ran four flat. Drew ran 8:34 in the 2 mile. Danny ran 13:38. I'll throw myself in there. Like I broke 14.
Oh yeah, you got to give yourself credit. I mean, you're
Yeah,
pro
give myself a
14.
little credit there, but I mean, you just look at the depth even in the Nike 5K race. Like Perez ran 14:01, Byron ran 14:12, which
Hmm.
like if there was no New Balance 5K, I think a lot more people would have looked at the Nike 5K and been impressed. But I think I don't know what it is, but the sport just keeps getting faster and faster. If you look at the NCAA, it's
It's
like you look
ridiculous.
you look at how many of the top 10 3Ks have been run just in the past year. I think
Hmm.
like five guys broke 740, which like 4 years ago the indoor record was like 738 or something like that. So I don't know what it is. I don't
Yeah,
know if I don't think it's the spikes. I think the spikes factor in a little bit, but like even from this year compared to 2 years ago, guys are running a lot faster, and they had the super spikes 2 years ago. So I don't know what it is, but people are running a lot faster.
yeah, I feel like also, as you said, I feel like the New Balance 5K, obviously, Danny did his thing and it was an amazing
Mhm.
race, but I feel like a lot of people aren't giving the Nike one as much credit where, as you
Yeah.
said, I feel like both races were just such full of such accomplished runners and
Mhm.
it just was great and it's going to be great to see all those runners come together for a big
Mhm.
Arcadia.
I
And like
know, no doubt. Yeah.
and looking at like running's progression, the 10 the other day,
Oh,
what
that was insane to watch too.
I mean, it's just the sport is going in some direction.
I know. Well, even last year at the 10, I mean, the winners didn't break 27, right? So, and
Mhm.
then this year there was 8 people sub 27. So I think I don't know what it is, but people are just running faster and faster. And I think that's a good thing for the sport. It helps grow it, and what you thought was fast a year ago is not fast anymore. So you gotta keep pushing yourself as well.
Yeah, and Patrick, as a Florida runner, like I feel like everyone thinks Florida Sunshine State. Is it always just a nice, beautiful day to run?
Huh, definitely not during the summer. Like right now and over the winter, it's kind of perfect. In the winter it'll be like 40 degrees, but it'll still be sunny occasionally, and it just feels fantastic to run. It's never too cold. It's just beautiful. And even right now it's still pretty nice, although it's starting to warm up. But by the time you get to May, June, July, August, those are just the dog days. I mean, especially in Tallahassee, it's so humid. I mean, you just have to come down here and run. It's so humid. You're drenched by mile one. Um, but it does get pretty nice. September, October, November, December. Those are pretty nice months to run. But if you come here over the summer and run, it's gonna be rough.
Yeah, and how does it work for like obviously Florida doesn't have a crazy indoor season because it's
Hmm.
beautiful time almost all parts of the year. So how
Yeah.
does that work? As you said, is it just an earlier outdoor
Yeah.
season or?
So yeah, it is an earlier outdoor season, which does have its positives and negatives. I would say one of the not so great things about that is I'm kind of racing from February to June. And say for example, the indoor nationals was this last weekend. A
Mhm.
lot of kids they'll have their indoor season and then they'll have their outdoor season and they'll have their indoor season they'll take like a down week and then they'll go build up for their outdoor season state meets in June. But I don't really have that luxury because I have indoor season and then just this Friday I have FSU relays, which is going to be a great 3200. Riley Smith is a fantastic runner, and I think we're going to run really well there. So I don't really have the luxury to kind of take a down week and then build back up because of the way the racing schedule is. I kind of have to be ready to race fast from February all the way to June, and especially after the state meet. Our state meets like May 17th this year, and I have basically 4 weeks after that before I run Brooks and Nike. So that's a really a long break, especially when you feel like your fitness is tapped out and in past years I felt kind of stale by the time New Balance Outdoor comes around. Or last year I did the Portland Track Festival, and by the end of the season I'm just really exhausted. So that's something I've been working on this season is even though kind of make sure I do longer workouts throughout the season and make sure by the time June comes around I'm still ready to run fast. So, but that is one of the not so great things about Florida is season starts so early, and compared to the rest of the country, it's a little difficult to have your periodization and things like that.
Yeah, and just out of curiosity, what's the exact date for Arcadia?
Ooh, I think it's April 6th, Saturday, April 6th, but
That's coming
I'm
around
not
pretty
exactly
quick.
sure.
No, that's gonna be a fun one. So the last question I got for you though is, do you have any pets?
I do not actually. I do not have any pets. I've always kind of wanted a dog or a cat, but my mom's allergic to cats, so that never really panned out.
Mhm.
I had a hamster in I
Okay.
think it was I had a hamster in the seventh grades. I believe it was this sixth and seventh grade.
Mhm.
And his name was Pre after Prefontaine, but
There you go.
that's about all the pets I've had. But yeah, I wish I had a dog. Maybe in my future I'll have one.
Yeah, so we'll end off with this one then. If what is your hype music like go to pre-race?
Hype music. Oh man, it really depends on the race. It really depends on the race. Some races I'll have no music before and just concentrate on the race. Sometimes I'll listen to like some Bob Marley pre-race, just kind of
That's
get
real.
in the. And I kind of stole that one from Graham Blanks because he went on a podcast and talked about just kind of getting loose before a race. I think he listened to that before NCAA's, and so I kind of copied him on that one and listened to some Bob Marley before Foot Locker South and kind of loosened up. And sometimes it'll just be like some hype music, some rap music. I've also listened to Jump by Van Halen was a classic one.
That's killer.
My
Yeah.
dad, yeah, my dad used to play that one in the car on the way to like the local 5Ks when I was younger. So that one's kind of always stuck with me. But
Mhm.
it really depends on the race. I'm not like a strict, this is what I have to listen to. I'm more picky about what I eat before a race, and that's typically a peanut butter and jelly sandwich the morning of a race.
Yeah, I got to give a quick shout out to my hometown, Bellingham, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Jump by Van Halen. It's the year it came out, and every year since then, that's their opening song. So a little shout
Really?
out there, yeah. It's kind of random, but
That is pretty cool. Maybe I'll
um,
come visit.
maybe. And yeah, well, Patrick, thank you so much for hopping on the podcast. Good luck
Of
with the
course.
meets. You're gonna kill
Thank
it.
you.
And thank you everyone for watching. Till our next lap. See ya.